Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. New record hospitalizations due to COVID-19 continue to increase. Another nurse dies from COVID-19 complications. And later in sports, West Ham United confirms striker Mikel Antonio will be available for Reggae Boys game against Panama on Sunday. I'm Anthony Lugg. Here are the details. We begin with news that hospitalizations due to COVID-19 have hit another record. 767 people have been admitted with the respiratory virus. 60 are critically ill. The total number of active cases is at 17,881. In the meantime, the country recorded 729 new cases of the coronavirus from 1,600 test samples within the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is 47.6%. St. James recorded the highest number of new cases with 141, followed by Kingston and St. Andrew with 116. The total case count is 68,131. And the virus also claimed 8 more lives between August 27 and 29, increasing the death toll to 1,518. In the meantime, another nurse has died from COVID-19 related complications in Jamaica. Degrea Davis Hamilton, who was in critical condition, died last night at the Savannah Lamar Public General Hospital in Westmoreland, where she had worked. Acting Regional Director for the Western Regional Health Authority, St. Andrade Sinclair, says Mrs. Davis Hamilton was a senior member of staff. Earlier this month, registered nurse at the Percy Junior Hospital, Annette White Best, also died from COVID-19 complications. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says he will be requesting a report on possible deaths arising from the oxygen shortage over the weekend. All public hospitals across the island reported dangerously low levels of oxygen, with some running out of the life-saving gas. O'Shane Masters reports.
On Sunday, TVJ News was informed that a number of deaths have occurred at the hospital due to the shortage of medical oxygen. A source at the hospital said the shortage of oxygen was at crisis level. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton on Monday told Radio Jamaica's Beyond the Headlines that he did not know whether anyone had died as a result.
I can conclusively say how many have died as a result of oxygen. Maybe some would have, but I would prefer the clinicians to conclude on that. And the report I have is that there may be some areas that require further assessment, and I'm sure they'll do that.
Dr. Tufton said it was important to analyze the full impact of the oxygen crisis.
I think there is value in terms of lessons learned from that, and I will insist on a report to give me the best conclusion clinically. So yes, I agree with you, because we have to take care to learn from these situations and try not to repeat them in the future.
On Monday, Jamaica received oxygen supplies to replenish the depleted stock at health facilities. Meanwhile, the opposition is blasting the government for the oxygen crisis on the weekend and what it calls an ad hoc approach in handling the pandemic. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
As the private sector continues its vaccination drive, the organizers say they are encouraged by the response to the program so far.
The private sector vaccination initiative seeks to assist the national vaccination drive to get as many Jamaicans as possible vaccinated against COVID-19.
And how we do that is we work through companies who would like to encourage and create increased access for their employees and their team members to get vaccinated. We're here today at Sagicor, in a Sagicor auditorium, to vaccinate the Sagicor team.
So we have 700 people registered already. We expect that we'll have even more. And we're going to be promoting this next week also. And on the 2nd of September, Thursday, we have a second day booked for the same auditorium here. And we expect to have many more than 700 by the time the 2 days are finished.
Today, the turnout has been really good. We've been really busy. Our target for today is 700, and we are quite close to the target, and people are still coming in. So definitely the turnout has been encouraging.
The movement partners with private sector companies to make accessing the vaccine easier for their employees. On Friday, both the Johnson & Johnson and the AstraZeneca jabs were being offered.
My company decided to have a blitz of their own, so this is the first day they're actually doing it. So I signed up as soon as they announced it because it was pretty hard to get the time to go to the other places and so forth.
Initially, I was very apprehensive about taking it because I was scared. I heard all the rumors, I saw the news, and I was very apprehensive. But based on what I'm seeing and what is happening, and so many people dying, I just decided I have to get protected against this virus. And
as encouraging as Friday's turnout was, there is still concern about vaccine hesitancy. Dr. Asanani believes misinformation is the main cause for hesitancy.
There is some initial hesitation, and especially in today's day and age where social media is so prevalent and everybody's always scrolling, there's unfortunately a lot of misinformation going around. So there definitely has been a little hesitation, but once they come and talk to one of us medical professionals and we explain to them what actually is going on, then they're usually okay to take it.
We have to be clear about what the data is showing. We know that 1,400 Jamaicans have already passed away as a result of COVID. We don't want anybody else to die unnecessarily, so we really do hope as many people come and get vaccinated to protect themselves, protect their loved ones, protect their communities. And the quicker that we all get vaccinated is the quicker we can get our lives back.
The initiative will continue next week with more companies joining the Blitz. Herman Green, TVJ News.
To some other news now, the St. Anne Municipal Corporation has intensified its efforts to strengthen its street feeding program, especially during the no movement days. Shamela Pullen tells us more.
Some 80 persons living on the streets in St. Anne have been targeted for the ongoing street feeding program in the parish. Mayor Sidney Stewart says some critical areas visited include Ocherias, Discover Bay and St. Anne's Bay.
Now the intention is to find all of them. That's why we are involved in it. Once we go there and the people who work for them daily tell us who are missing, but it is likely that they may be under some shop piers, it's like they may be up the road, it's like that they may be somewhere. And the intention of municipal officers and the administrators is to find them and the council. That's why we are involved. It's not just going to really assemble our field. There's a less number, 1 or 2 is missing. We are going to try and find them. So the intention is to try and find every single person who are recording as street persons and are supposed to be the beneficiaries of this program.
Mayor Stewart also said that the drop-in center is also operating at its regular hours for persons who also want to go in and pick up meals and among other things.
So we were able to serve in 2 sets of 8, 16 and for about 20, 25 persons at the drop-in center a short while ago. The accommodation in the lunchroom were set for 8 at intervals. So once at 8 complete, then we take in a second 8 and we take in a third 8.
He said plans are also in place to get more agencies involved in this exercise.
I am going to be meeting with the CDCs in Discover Bay and Renault Bay tomorrow morning starting at 10, where they are going to be volunteering and provide some meals to, in addition to what we'll be serving. So the exercise will be ongoing throughout these lockdowns because I think the intention of the municipality, and not just that, we are being instructed by the Honourable Minister that this must happen, and he made provision for that.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
And it's time now for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News and thanks for staying with us. Days after heavy rains pelted sections of the island, some roads remain impassable. Our news team visited some of the affected areas in Clarendon on Monday. Landslides and flooding, issues residents in several communities of Clarendon grappled with between Wednesday and Friday last week.
The floodwaters have receded in all the areas. However, we still have roads in the north that are still impassable because of impediments, landslides mainly, impacting those. So we have areas like the Peckham Road where we have done significant work already, but we still have some blockage to remove. The road from Moko to Frankfield has multiple issues. We are cleaning and clearing, but the road is still impassable.
Communications manager at the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw, says there were 8 massive landslides along the road from Moko to Frankfield. In the community of Smithville, residents are breathing a sigh of relief. This man's car was damaged by a boulder.
It's terrible, you know. Whole heap of water, whole heap of stone. The chop, whole heap of water, whole heap of stone. Right now, you don't see nothing, just the stone and thing you see.
We're cut off, but we still give the Lord thanks for nothing else beside life. We have life. All gone, but our life is still here.
While those residents express gratitude, others are counting their losses. And in the midst of it all, danger lurks. Take, for instance, this embankment which has been compromised. This is the road from Thompsontown to Blackwoods and surrounding areas. Colin Henry is the councillor for the Thompsontown division.
I'm hoping that in near future, they will do some assessment on this, because I'm pretty much sure that persons from NAA were here yesterday looking at it and doing their assessment.
The National Works Agency says it's taken note of the breakaways in the parish and will be finalizing a report to be sent to the ministry. So, residents will have to wait.
Right now, the focus is on getting persons moving from one area to the next. And so the removal of the impediments is really our chief concern.
While the assessments are being done, the people remain gripped by fear.
The government must put a wall or drain, build it, go straight back down for all the land, because here's so going to run way again. And we want something to do to here so.
Anthony Lowe. It's now time for the Business Minute. Here's Cody and Barrett.
In the world of business, according to the Bank of Jamaica's quarterly monetary policy report, during the April to June quarter, the main index grew by 7.8%. There was 0.2% growth during the same period in 2020. The junior market index improved by 13% versus the 2% decline reported for January to March. The report says vaccination and the less restrictive curfew measures during the quarter largely influenced investor confidence. And in business internationally, China's economy stalled this month as the country tried to stamp out a surge in coronavirus cases and contended with the ongoing shipping crisis. The official Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index PMI fell to 50.1 in August from 50.4 in July. That was just above the 50-point mark, indicating expansion rather than contraction, but still the slowest rate of growth since the start of the pandemic. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
Now, for the top regional and international stories, here's O'Shane Masters.
In the region, the St. Lucia government has appointed a 7-member committee to review the Huanora International Airport HIA redevelopment project, which it said has been shrouded by controversy. The HIA project is a US $175 million investment to redevelop the island's international airport. Controversy has shrouded the project after court documents from the United States were filed and became public, naming ministers of the 2006-2011 United Workers' Party, UWP administration, as persons of interest. The Guyana Public Service Union on Monday said it will legally challenge the decision by the authorities to lock out nurses and other government employees who have not been vaccinated or refuse to take a PCR test for the coronavirus COVID-19. Last week, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony told reporters that senior Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation staff members and the Linden Hospital complex have been working to educate healthcare workers on the importance of being vaccinated. Further afield, Afghanistan is now waking up to a new reality. The U.S. military has withdrawn all of its troops, ending America's longest war and leaving the country after nearly 20 years back under Taliban control. Fighters celebrated after the last military plane took off from Kabul before midnight. And the 2 people in Mississippi are dead after a big chunk of a highway collapsed. About 50 feet of Highway 26 washed away Monday night near the state's border with Alabama, creating a hole about 20 feet deep. Officials believe the washout was caused by heavy rains produced by Ida, which was a tropical depression when it passed through that area. And that's it for the top regional and international stories. I'm O'Shane Masters.
And we head now to a quick break. When we return, we'll have your Midday Sports Report. Renardo Brown is standing by. Renardo Brown, welcome, sir.
Welcome back. It's now time for your Midday Sports. Now, West Ham United striker Mikel Antonio is expected to arrive in Jamaica later this week after the English club confirmed that he will be available for the Reggae Boys game against Panama at the National Stadium this Sunday. Now, Antonio, who was expected to arrive in Jamaica on Monday but cancelled his ticket, will, however, miss the opening World Cup qualifier against Mexico on Thursday, along with a number of key names. Now, this as the Jamaica Football Federation released a list of players to make the trip. Also missing from the squad are Ethan Pinnock, Liam Moore, Wesley Harding, Amari Bell, Ravel Morrison, Daniel Johnson, Kevin Stewart, Bobby Reed, Leon Bailey, Jamal Lowe, and Kemar Roof. This stems from English clubs reluctant, while the rest will depart on a chartered flight out of Kingston with the technical and administrative staff at 1 p.m. later today. And defending champions Portmore United opposed Cavalier on Friday in the Jamaica Premier League and will do so with Garnet Lawrence in charge as the interim head coach. Lawrence, who was part of Malines United's coaching staff for the 2019-20 season and technical coordinator and head coach for the youth teams at Portmore United, takes over from former Reggae boy Ricardo Bibi Gardner, who is understood to be currently in the United Kingdom due to personal and family reasons. More football as Reggae boy Kemal Malcolm scored for El Salvadoran club Chalatenango in a 2-1 loss to Once Deportiva over the weekend. Malcolm scored the opener in the 39th minute for his team. This was Malcolm's third goal of the season in his 7th appearance. With the loss, Chalatenango slipped to 8th in the table. Malcolm is on a deal with Chalatenango until the summer of 2022. Now to cricket, as TVJ Sports cricket analyst Christopher A. Gale believes the Jamaica Tallawahs must reconstruct their batting lineup if they are to beat the Barbados Royals in the Caribbean Premier League game later today. While the Jamaican franchise has the highest team total of 225 runs so far in the tournament, Gale feels a similar batting collapse like the one on Saturday against the Royals is always on the cards based on the batting lineup.
I think there's still something that I've always been lamenting on for the last 2 to 3 years that I think we continue to miss in the draft, and I think it's that proper batsman, that out and out batsman that can really hold the middle order together, bat those middle overs, rotate strike, and complement the power hitting that we have in the team with the likes of Ravman Powell, Andre Russell, Chadwick Walton, Kenar Lewis, and the list goes on.
Today's game goes off at 6 p.m. Jamaica time. The defending champion Naomi Osaka claimed a straight-set victory at the U.S. Open on her first Grand Slam appearance since withdrawing from the French Open. The Japanese third seed ground down Czech world number 87, Maria Buzkova, for a 6-4, 6-1 first-round win. Elsewhere, former world number 1 Simona Halep beat Italian Camilla Giorgini 6-4, 7-6. Two-time major winner Garbine Muguruza claimed a 7-6, 7-6 victory against Donna Vesic, while 2017 U.S. Open champion Sloane Stephens got by Madison Keys 6-3, 1-6, 7-6. French Open champion Barbora Krejcikova sealed her place in the second round by beating Australian Astra Sharma 6-love, 6-4. And that's it for your Midday Sports Report. It's back to you, Anthony.
All right, thank you, Reynaldo. And just before we go, a correction to our story we aired earlier. The nurse who died from the COVID-19 complication is Degrea Davis Cunningham and not Hamilton, as we reported earlier. And that's the Midday News. I'm Anthony Lugg. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.